What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your third stimulus check update that it will now be anywhere between $1,000, which is what the Republicans are proposing, which is the bare minimum now that we will be getting for the third stimulus check, the $1,400, which is probably the most likely scenario, which is what they call a $2,000 plus up bill. It increases the $600 to $2,000, which is $1,400, or possibly a full $2,000, which dozens of Democrats from the House and the Senate are pushing to have larger stimulus checks. Just yesterday, we now have the breaking news story from the Republicans that they have a counter bill for only $618 billion, which has $1,000 checks in there, which is kind of the bare minimum that we now know will be the third stimulus check. But it seems very unlikely that it will be the $1,000. More likely, it'll be $1,400. We're going to jump over to the Senate floor. We're going to hear directly from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on what they are going to do with the third stimulus check package and what he thinks. Again, he is now the Senate Majority Leader, so he's the most important person in the Senate. And then I actually have another breaking news story right after that I'm going to get to you guys regarding the actual stimulus check bill. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on updates on the third stimulus check. That is almost a certainty at this point because we have at least $1,000 coming from Republicans. We have $1,400 or more coming from Democrats, and Democrats can pass it on their own with a reconciliation card. They don't even need Republican support to pass it. The question is, how much is it going to be? And when is it going to be? We're going to go over to Chuck Schumer on the Senate floor to answer those questions right now. Okay, here we go. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on the Senate floor right now.
At the same time, the Senate this week will begin the important work of crafting legislation to rescue the American people and the American economy from the continued effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. We continue to face a crisis unlike any other in our lifetimes. Over the course of a year, more than 26 million Americans contracted the virus, and nearly 450,000 have died, more than the number of Americans who died during World War II. Tens of millions of Americans have lost their jobs. Thousands of businesses closed their doors for good, and the economy suffered the worst year of growth again since World War II. Our efforts here in Congress over the past year have saved scores of small businesses, kept millions of Americans in their home and out of poverty, but our work is far from completed. As we speak, nearly 1 million Americans are filing for unemployment per week. More than 16 million Americans have reported being thousands of dollars behind on the rent, on mortgage, on utilities. Elderly Americans are having their heat shut off in the depths of winter. Families are having the power and internet shut off during their children's first year of virtual kindergarten. The small businesses we've done so much to help through the PPP and other bipartisan programs will struggle until we can vaccinate enough Americans to get the country back to normal. Facing these multifaceted challenges of a scale and scope larger than any event in the past 100 years, Congress must pursue a bold and robust course of action. It makes no sense to pinch pennies when so many Americans are struggling. The risk of doing too little is far greater than the risk of doing too much. Our history is full of warnings about the costs of small thinking during times of great challenge. President Hoover failed to react quickly enough to forestall a Great Depression. In the wake of our most recent financial crisis in 2009, Congress was too timid and constrained, and the ensuing recovery was long, slow, painful. Treasury Secretary Yellen, who watched the most recent recovery up close, just told us that, quote, "The smartest thing we can do is act big." Let me repeat that. The smartest thing we can do is act big, according to Treasury Secretary Yellen. So that is what the Senate is going to do. Act big. Today, Speaker Pelosi and I will file a joint budget resolution for the fiscal year 2021, totaling $1.9 trillion, which is the first step in giving Congress an additional legislative tool to quickly pass the COVID relief legislation. The resolution, if passed by both chambers of Congress, will provide instructions for the House and Senate committees to begin work on a potential budget reconciliation bill, which will be the vehicle for urgent and necessary COVID relief. Now, I want to be very clear. There is nothing in this process that will preclude it from being bipartisan. We welcome Republican input. Let me say that again. There is nothing in this process, the budget resolution or reconciliation, that precludes our work from being bipartisan. In fact, the Senate has used this process no fewer than 17 times to pass bipartisan legislation since 1980, including to create or expand landmark programs like children's health insurance, the child tax credit, the earned income tax credit, which together have lifted millions of Americans out of poverty. COVID relief, too, should be the work of both Democrats and Republicans. Teachers and firefighters are being laid off in red states and blue states. American families are struggling with the rent and utilities in Kentucky, as well as in New York. We should all be eager to provide our country the resources it needs to finally beat this disease and return our country to normal. To that end, Democrats welcome the ideas and input of our Senate Republican colleagues. The only thing we cannot accept is a package that is too small or too narrow to pull our country out of this emergency. We cannot repeat the mistake of 2009, and we must act very soon.
So basically, what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is saying here is that they're going to reject the Republicans' much, much smaller stimulus package, which is less than one-third the size, $618 billion, as opposed to the Democrats' $1.9 trillion bill. Remember, the Republicans only want to give a $1,000 stimulus check instead of at least $1,400 coming from the Democrat side. There's a bunch of Democrats pushing to make larger stimulus checks and monthly stimulus checks. $1,400 is kind of the middle ground of that would basically equal the $600 plus the $1,400. It's called a plus-up bill. It pluses up the $600 to $2,000 by adding $1,400. And the Republicans also wanted to have an income limit at $40,000 for an individual would get the full stimulus check of only $1,000, and going up to $50,000 would end the stimulus check completely from the Republican proposal. So it looks like the Democrats are moving forward with the larger stimulus check package and are basically saying no deal to the Republicans, and they're going to go with the larger stimulus checks of at least $1,400. Let me show you what they just did. All right, here we go. This is directly from the Senate.gov website. It's actually from Democrats.senate.gov, the official Senate page for the Democrats. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi have filed a joint budget resolution called FY 2021 budget resolution to give Congress additional legislative tool to pass the urgently needed COVID relief bill, aka the next stimulus package. And the additional legislative tool is this, which is the reconciliation card. They're already preparing to pass this larger stimulus package than the Republicans want with this card, which basically means that they can pass it without any Republicans at all. Because in the House of Representatives, the Democrats have control. They can pass it simply on their own, as they have done in the past, as they did with the $2,000 Cash Act. We know that they passed the bill in the House. There was actually Republican support on there too. We had about 44 Republicans vote yes on that bill too. It went to the Senate, and at the time, the Senate Majority Leader was Mitch McConnell, and he basically didn't even put the bill to a vote. So the House of Representatives can pass the bill on their own. It then goes to the Senate, who now the Senate Majority Leader is Chuck Schumer, who we just heard from, and now the Democrats can pass the bill all on their own through the reconciliation process, where basically if they don't get a single vote from any Republicans and it ends a 50-50 tie, well, then the tiebreaker vote goes to the vice president, who is Kamala Harris, who will obviously vote on the Democratic side and be the 51st vote. The reconciliation rule or the reconciliation card says that you can pass a bill in the Senate with only 51 votes. The Republicans did this as early as just a few years ago to partially repeal part of the Obamacare and also for the Trump tax cuts, which Republicans, well, I shouldn't say Republicans, but economists say that that bill cost about $2 trillion, which is eerily similar to the cost of this stimulus package also. So basically, Democrats have just filed a joint budget resolution here today to pass this bill on their own without Republican support. They're already preparing for this. As you can see here, it says new joint budget resolution instructs congressional committees to craft legislation to enact President Biden's $1.9 trillion comprehensive American Rescue Plan, which will provide urgent and targeted funding for the fiscal year of 2021 to defeat the virus. Oh, they didn't say crush the virus. How could they not say crush the virus? What is defeat the virus? I mean, come on. If we're going to say anything, it needs to be crush the virus here, right? I mean, Nancy Pelosi's right here. Obviously, she didn't write this, or else we would be crushing the virus, right? To crush the virus and provide workers and families the resources they need to survive the pandemic while the vaccine is distributed to every American. So this literally just came out minutes ago. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi today announced that they have filed a joint budget resolution for 2021 that gives Congress an additional legislative tool to pass the urgently needed bipartisan COVID relief legislation, aka the third stimulus check package, that enacts President Biden's plan to help defeat the virus, provide workers and family resources they need to crush the virus. Introduction of this joint budget resolution is the first step to potentially enacting a budget reconciliation bill, aka using their reconciliation card if they need to when it comes to a vote, which could be very soon. One legislative tool available to Congress is to quickly pass bipartisan COVID relief, the stimulus package. The resolution outlines the quote reconciliation instructions for each House and Senate committee or how much funding can be spent in their jurisdiction. If both the House and Senate pass identical budget resolution, which do not require a presidential signature, that's interesting. I mean, I'm sure Biden would sign this, but it's interesting that's there. Both chambers can begin working on the reconciliation bill that is signed by the president. That's interesting. According to an analysis of research, reconciliation bills have been passed by the Senate on a bipartisan basis 17 different times in recent years, including to pass the bipartisan Children's Health Insurance Program in 1997. Specifically, the joint budget resolution Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi filed offers instructions to the relevant congressional committees to provide relief including but not limited to immediate relief for individuals and families throughout 2021, including a $1,400 per person and per child direct stimulus payments, which is absolutely just amazing news. An extension of unemployment insurance programs through September of 2021, most likely September 30th, as that is the end of the fiscal year, with a $400 per week federal unemployment enhancement bonus. So they want to increase the unemployment for anybody that's lost their job just recently, from $300 per week to $400 per week, and $350 billion in critical state and local relief. So some of this money will come back to you guys in the fourth round of rental and mortgage assistance. Right now, the mortgage and rental assistance that you guys are claiming that we've been going over on this channel, I'll have more videos coming out about that, where you can get your rent paid directly from these stimulus packages. The second one that's already passed, that the money is going live right now. There's going to be more of these. That $350 billion will provide another bucket of mortgage and rental assistance for you guys coming up in the near future. This resolution will also provide funds to greatly increase health care coverage to Americans that have lost it through no fault of their own during this pandemic. Funding to help defeat the virus, including support for vaccines, testing, and public health programs. It also includes funding for to help schools safely reopen, relief funds for millions of Americans struggling to make rent and mortgage payments, as well as those experiencing homelessness. The resolution also includes funding for transit agencies and the Defense Production Act. So, right here, as we can see here, this right here will be this relief funds for rent and mortgage payments, as well as those experiencing homelessness, as you can see right here highlighted. This will be the third bucket of money for mortgage and rental assistance. Remember, mortgage and rental assistance is amazing, and you should apply for it. Watch my past videos or future videos about more upcoming. Right, the first bucket of money for mortgage and rental assistance came from the first stimulus package, the money that went to states and cities. There was no direct money that went to rental assistance, but a lot of states, cities, and counties gave you guys rental assistance, which you have to apply for from their money from states and cities. Now, the second bucket of money that's from the second stimulus package that passed about a month ago at the end of December. That money is now coming available and is going to all 50 states and territories. So you can claim that now. We go over that in other videos, and I will have more videos on it now. So again, make sure you're subscribed. Click the bell icon so you get notifications. I'll be walking you guys through how to do this. But a lot of states and counties have their second bucket of money for mortgage and rental assistance available right now. I seen one comment from a lady said Indiana has $30,000 per person available for mortgage and rental assistance alone, and it's for all 50 states. The third bucket of money is that one I just highlighted on the screen from the third stimulus package, rental assistance. And the fourth set of mortgage and rental assistance will be from that $350 billion that goes to states and cities. Some of that money will come back around to you, but it will probably be a month or two until states and cities start doing the fourth bucket of money. Needless to say, there's lots of mortgage and rental assistance out there. And right now we're on round two. There's going to be two more rounds coming also. Next up, additional relief for our nation's small businesses and hard hit industries through increased funding for the EIDL advanced grants and the creation of a dedicated grant program for restaurants and expanding the PPP assistance for nonprofits and digital media services. More funds for Save Our Stages grants and independent live venues, independent movie theaters and cultural institutions, and new community navigator technical assistance to help connect underserved communities with critical resources. We also have funding for investments in broadband and distance learning. You actually might be able to get internet for free through some of these stimulus packages. We'll cover that in upcoming videos. Funding for the FEMA program to ramp up the president's vaccination programs. More support for hungry families through programs like SNAP, WIC, and EBT. This will include critical funding for food supply chain and additional assistance programs for farmers. So we may see more increases for SNAP, WIC, and EBT program, or it may be longer extensions on those also. I will keep you updated as we get more information as this comes out. We have additional healthcare support for the vaccines and the virus, critical funding for Indian health services and Native Americans, funding for the Economic Development Administration for low income and minority communities who have been hit the hardest, and critical funding for programs to aid in the global response recovery from the pandemic. So this is really great news. It looks like they're moving forward with the $1.9 trillion package, and they're apparently moving forward with possibly having to do it through reconciliation. They're expecting to not get any Republican votes as they're basically turning down the $618 billion skinny bill from the Republican senators. Let me know your thought on this. I think it's very good news that we're not going to take the smaller checks. or the smaller stimulus package bill, and they're going to go with the larger stimulus package. I will be keeping you updated on the breaking news. A new video will come out tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, new videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Share this video with your friends and family so they know what is going on with the third stimulus check, mortgage and rental assistance, unemployment assistance, SNAP WIC increases, student loan forgiveness, Social Security increases. We cover it all here on this channel. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have dozens of students that have replaced their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.